West African defence chiefs say they now have a plan for possible military intervention to reverse last week's coup in Niger, including how and when to deploy forces. Coup leaders were given a one-week deadline to step down and restore ousted President Mohamed Bazoum to power.
Military chiefs from the 11 active ECOWAS nations came together in Nigeria. The topic of discussion, what to do about the recent coup in Niger. A few days after the junta ousted the elected President Mohamed Bazoum and took power, ECOWAS issued an ultimatum. Either step down by Sunday or potentially face military action. Now, the bloc says it has a plan.
There is a steely determination by our heads of state and government to put an end to it and to make an example of Niger, to make sure that never again are we going to allow the disruption of the region's move towards democratic consolidation in our region. And ECOWAS is not going to tell the coup plotter when and where we are going to strike.
This is the first time ECOWAS has threatened military action as a response to a coup, and many will see it as a test of the bloc's mettle.
We must ensure that decisions taken here today are not mere rhetorics, but are transformed into tangible actions on the ground.
It's a show of unity for the cameras, but a clear divide has emerged. Niger is the fourth ECOWAS country to come under military rule in the last 2 years, after Guinea, Mali and Burkina Faso. And like those three nations, it has now been suspended from the group. The juntas in Mali and Burkina Faso gave their support to the Niger coup leaders.
We hereby warn that any military intervention against Niger is tantamount to a declaration of war against Burkina Faso and Mali.
In Niger's capital Niamey, pro-junta demonstrations continue, and it's not only Nigerians in attendance.
The citizens of other ECOWAS countries living in Niger support the new authorities. We live very well here. Fatherland or death, we will win.
As the deadline looms, it seems ECOWAS has a long way to go to win the hearts and minds of the people of Niger.
Abiolu Deng is an analyst who studies the Sahel region. How crucial are the next hours going to be with that deadline set to run out Sunday?
The next few hours are incredibly crucial. I think it's very much a point in which we can see which side is willing to call the other side's so-called bluff. It will be interesting to see if Tinubu's threats in terms of military intervention by Nigeria are backed up with fact. I did think that he was so unspecific about where and when they could strike. While that might be true, that might mean that they have a good idea of various targets which could be attacked. It also might be a stalling technique to buy time in order to really be sure and assess Nigeria's military capacity and also the political will in Nigeria in terms of a military intervention in Niger.
When you say bluff, what are you saying? That ECOWAS's plan isn't all that concrete, perhaps?
I think that the plan itself might be quite concrete, but I think that the reality of the situation is that this is a situation of pure realpolitik. Each side is talking to multiple members. There's very much the presence of non-ECOWAS states involved in this. We do know that there's potentially talks going on with Russia, the Wagner Group. We also know that non-ECOWAS states such as Chad and also Libya and potentially even some of the fighting in Sudan have people who are interested and perhaps even implicated in this coup d'etat. We also know that both Mali and Burkina Faso have come outright and said, if you attack Niger, you attack us as well. So as a result, of course, Nigeria, which is a country that is currently at the presidency of ECOWAS, has a lot to prove because Nigeria is also not only a regional power, but also candidate for BRICS. So they must show that they're able to handle complex situations within their own region through democratic and regional processes. However, is it so simple for Nigeria to really push for military intervention in Niger? I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. There's not necessarily the full support of people in Nigeria and other ECOWAS nations for this intervention.
And even more difficult if it's true that the Wagner Group is now there in Niger and is offering support to the coup leaders.
Absolutely. There have been some inconsistent reports whether or not they are present, but I think at this point it's pretty clear that there are conversations that are being held at that level, whether via Mali, Burkina Faso, or perhaps even via countries like Algeria or and such. So we do know that for Russia, demonstrations are definitely a sign of a shifting policy towards Russia.
Abiol Lualdeng, an analyst of the Sahel region. Thank you very much for your insights here on DW.
You're welcome. Thank you.